Hey guys, I'm trying to hit 10k subscribers by the end of the year and I think we can get there with your help, so please subscribe. It would honestly mean a lot to me. Now let's go right into the stories. I never imagined the words, "You're not one of us," would come from my own mother. It was a bright Saturday afternoon when the air felt electric with anticipation. My family had gathered at my parents' house for our annual summer barbecue, a tradition that usually filled me with warmth. The smell of grilled burgers and fresh corn wafted through the backyard as laughter rang out from every corner. But this year, a cloud loomed over me, an unshakable feeling that something was off. As the youngest child, I had always been the family's golden child. My siblings, Sarah and Tom, were often the center of attention, but I was cherished for my achievements, the quiet one who made them proud. However, everything shifted after I came out as bisexual 6 months prior. The initial shock had worn off for some, but there were whispers that still lingered in the air. I arrived at my parents' house, ready to enjoy the day, but the tension was palpable. My mom greeted me with her usual tight hug, but I could sense a hesitance in her embrace. As we moved outside, I saw my siblings, Sarah and Tom, laughing and joking, but I noticed the slight hesitation in their voices when they spoke to me. I brushed it off, convincing myself it was just my imagination. As the day wore on, we gathered around the picnic table, a spread of food before us. We joked and reminisced about old family vacations, but I could feel the weight of my mother's gaze on me. She was quiet, her usual bubbly self seemingly dimmed. I caught her exchanging looks with my father, a silent communication that made my stomach churn. After lunch, as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, I excused myself to help my mom clean up. I felt the need to connect with her, to bridge whatever gap had opened since my coming out. As we washed dishes together, I mustered the courage to ask, "Mom, is everything okay?" She paused, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. "Of course, honey. Why do you ask?" "I don't know. It just feels different lately, especially today." I watched her closely, hoping for reassurance. Her expression hardened slightly, and I felt the air shift. "You know we love you, right?" I nodded, feeling a rush of relief. "I know. I just..." But before I could finish, my mom cut me off. "It's just, sometimes it's hard for us. Your father and I were raised differently. We come from a different generation." "Different how?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Just, the way things were," she replied, her tone evasive. The conversation felt loaded, and I pressed on. "What do you mean by, the way things were? You know I'm still the same person, right? Just because I'm bisexual doesn't change who I am." She sighed, turning away from the sink, her hands dripping with soapy water. "I just worry about you, sweetie. The world isn't always kind." "Mom, I can handle it," I insisted, feeling frustration bubbling beneath the surface. "I have friends, a support system. I'm proud of who I am." "Pride can be dangerous," she replied, her voice low but firm. "I just want to protect you." I was taken aback. "Protect me from what?" "From being myself. From being happy. From being hurt," she snapped, her patience fraying. "You're not one of us anymore." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I stepped back, my heart racing. "Not one of us. Mom, I'm your child. Just because I'm not straight doesn't mean I'm suddenly an outsider." She shook her head, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. "I didn't mean it like that. I worry about what people will think." I felt tears prick my eyes, and I fought to hold them back. "So you're ashamed of me?" "No," she exclaimed, her voice rising. "It's not that simple." "Then what is it?" I demanded. "I thought we could talk about this. I thought you'd be supportive." At that moment, my brother Tom walked into the kitchen, sensing the tension. "What's going on?" he asked, looking between us. "Nothing," I said quickly, trying to mask my hurt. Tom raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. "You don't look fine." "Mom." But before she could respond, I bolted from the kitchen, my heart pounding in my chest. I needed air, needed space to think. I found myself in the backyard, the laughter from my siblings now distant echoes against the backdrop of my spiraling emotions. I felt betrayed, not just by my mother but by the entire family. How could they not understand? I had always been the one to fit in, to bring them joy, yet here I was, standing alone, feeling like a stranger in my own home. As I sat on the back porch, I saw Sarah and Tom through the window, laughing and enjoying their time together. They looked so carefree, so unaffected by the storm raging inside me. My heart ached with a longing to be part of that happiness again, but I felt as if a wall had been erected between us, one built on ignorance and fear. Moments later, Sarah stepped outside, her expression shifting as she saw me. "Hey, are you okay? Do I look okay?" I snapped, the hurt bubbling over. She sat down beside me, her tone softening. "What happened in there?" I took a deep breath, the words tumbling out. "Mom doesn't accept me. She said I'm not one of us anymore." Sarah's eyes widened, her voice incredulous. "What? That's not true. Then why did she say it?" I shot back. "Why can't she just accept who I am?" "I'll talk to her," Sarah said quickly, but I shook my head. "I don't want you to defend me. I just want her to love me for who I am." The silence hung between us, heavy and uncomfortable. I felt so alone, even with my sister beside me. "I don't know if she can," Sarah finally admitted, her voice barely a whisper. I stood up abruptly, the world feeling too big and too small at the same time. "I need to go. I can't be here anymore." "Wait," Sarah said, reaching for my arm. "Don't leave like this. We can figure it out." "Figure what out?" I replied, pulling away. "I can't keep pretending everything is fine. It's not." I walked back inside, my heart pounding. I had to say something to my mother. She needed to understand how her words had cut me. I found her sitting at the dining table, staring blankly at the untouched dessert. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling but determined. She looked up, her expression softening as she saw my distress. "Honey, I don't want to hear excuses," I interrupted. "You need to understand how your words affect me. I am proud of who I am, and I won't hide that for anyone, not for you, not for anyone." Tears streamed down my face as I continued. "I thought family was supposed to support each other, no matter what. I thought you would love me no matter who I loved. I feel like I've lost you, and it hurts." Her eyes filled with tears, and for a moment, I thought I saw the flicker of understanding. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said, her voice breaking. I don't know how to process this." I sighed, the tension in my chest easing slightly. "Then let's figure it out together. I need you in my life, but I can't accept anything less than your love and support." We stood there, the silence heavy but filled with unspoken hopes. I felt a small glimmer of something, a potential for understanding, a chance for healing. It wouldn't be easy, but I knew I had to keep fighting for my place in my family. As I wiped my tears, I realized that love isn't always straightforward. It's messy, complicated, and sometimes painful. But if we're willing to confront the uncomfortable truths, we can begin to build bridges over the gaps that divide us. And in that moment, I felt a flicker of hope that we might just find our way back to each other after all.